Good morning, everyone. Today is the day after the full moon in Aries. How did that full moon treat you? Yeah, I was curled up in a ball. I had an appointment with my chiropractor, and we've known each other for many years. We work together in corporate, and I respect him in every possible capacity. And he basically led me into this conversation as I'm just digging the hole of my own grave. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. And so I got to process with myself and God for the day, and I just did not go to my social events, and I was just knee deep in ancient aliens and the depths of my own realizations that I'm an experiential learner. So sometimes and an Aries sun conjunct Jupiter, the 5th house of play. And I had this moment this morning where I was getting out of my car at the gym, and there are many times that I'll have a bird fly by, and I live on an island, so sometimes when seagulls fly by, I'm like, I don't know if that's a message from God. I think that's just the island that I live on. And I said to myself, I know what I love to do, I just don't do it very often when it comes to my own joy and my own play, because I've created a life where I love what I get to do professionally. I love my mission. I love all of you and all of that. It's the fun side of things where I haven't been really filling that cup up enough. And literally hundreds of birds flew overhead. Hundreds of birds. It was not one, it was not two, it was hundreds. It kept going. Yeah, hearing the splatter of poop all around me, I was like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you. I love a good Aries full moon. It's so gentle. It's just so gentle. Today I have an exciting video that I've had a lot of people ask me some questions. I've wrote down some questions, and either I have not responded yet, or I have said to that person, this deserves a full video. So I'm gonna put them all together, and they don't all really blend. I'll give the preface and kind of where the video came from and stuff like that before, and then I'll timestamp it so but this is a great place. I'm doing my Monday lives, which I really appreciate, and people are asking questions live. So if you're keen to have a live question answered, absolutely. But I had not started the lives, so that would be a great place if you're interested to ask questions. What else do I want to say before we get started? The full moon healing was also something very new that I started this year, or this moon season. So the link to that is below. That is, channeled messages, virtual healing, light language, all different things. I, made a canvas to go with it, has tons of powerful energy in it. That's $11. The link for that is below. Definitely can be utilized from now until the next full moon. It's infused with full moon energy, Aries energy, and Libra energy. So you can definitely harness that energy at any time. And the healing angels came through, all different things. It's very powerful. And areas of the body that you might be working on, that all came through. I'll leave that there. And I am going to do an all signs reading for Scorpio season. Those have been the most powerful videos and have been most well received by people all over the world. And I think they're very accessible for people. So I am going to do that. I'm going to offer it in the style that I do my year ahead all signs readings, where I don't have every single planet up on the board. It's okay, this is what the sun is telling you. This is, Pluto going into Aquarius is going to do. So it's going to be very user friendly, but kind of broken down, in the same way that I took all the planets off of the board for Scorpio season. When I'm this is that trine, or this is that this is that this. It'll be the same way, but I want each sign to be able to see that and to harness that. What else? The new moon Zoom is coming up. That's going to be on the 1st of November. That I'm going to do 6 to 8 people. There's room available. If you're interested in that, please reach out directly. That's $53. And I haven't made a Canva for it yet, but on the 5th of November, I'm going to do an intuitive listening Zoom. That's just going to be more lecture style, me talking to people that are keen to hold space and, want to be more helpful for people in their reality, in their daily life, in a way that, this is something that when I was going through my season from the Summit of Greatness until now, which was, actually eclipse season, if I want to be honest with myself, of, what is my brand? What is my niche? What is my this? What is my that? And I asked the closest people in my life, what would you peg me as an expert on? And the top 2 people in my life that I respect very dearly, they said, you are an expert at holding space. You are an expert at holding space. And so I would like to offer that to you on my computer that I just wanted to open back up again. And this is a perfect parlay into the first question. So I had someone ask that they were talking about, this was back in September, at the beginning of September, when I launched my self-mastery program, metaphysical, fundamental metaphysical practices for leaders and entrepreneurs. That product is $800. I have right now lowered that price to $555 to be accessible for a lot of people. It's a wild time in this world, and I want people that are keen to work on themselves to have the tools available to them. So I don't know how long that's going to be at that price. I think for now, and then I'll probably do like a sale for Black Friday. So that's $555 right now. But this person had inquired, how did you get to be so this? When did you realize you had a gift? And when did you realize you could share that gift? So how did I get to be so this? Great question. Thank you for asking that question. I've always been this. And that is something that when I look back, even before my awakening, I was always the person, could have been in corporate and leadership, management, running teams, that people just felt safe talking to. Could be at the grocery store, could be when I worked at a grocery store. I worked in natural food for a little while. God bless anyone who works in grocery. That's wild, absolutely wild. And people always felt safe around me. When I was living in Melbourne and I did a leadership, it was the Simon Sinek Find Your Why. And my why statement, this was really before my awakening, my full awakening, my why statement that was built from that program, which I still honor to this day, is my purpose is to create an inspired and safe space for us all to find connection. So even after my awakening, expert in holding space and holding sacred space, and my purpose even before my awakening was you are a safe space. You create that safe space wherever you go. That is my purpose, is to create a safe space for you to find the tools to really change your own life. And so I've known since, I would say, how did you get to be so this? Being in the depths of my own processing, not even the depths of my own processing, being in the depths of my own life, being at the lowest of low, and having no one help me and having no one there to pull me out except God and the little light that was inside of me that says, Sarah, you are the light. You are the Savior coming to help you. With God, you can do anything. With the God of your understanding, with your spirit team, with your unseen friends, whatever that means to you, you can do anything. But once I recognize that A, I'm God having a human experience, and B, there is no being on a white horse that's coming to actually pull me out of my thing, I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to learn. And so the twists and turns of my own human life have gone from corporate and then to COVID and then to borderline homelessness and all these different things, all these waves and twists and turns. And when I wore the leadership hat at all times, and processed my inner child and processed my inner teenager and processed my mother and father issues and processed all of those things, I said, wow, I'm an adult. And all the tools that I learned in leadership, all the things that I learned in my past experiences, I've been working with the public since I was 12 years old. I've been in service since I was, this is what I came here to do. And so integrating all of these practices and those fundamental metaphysical practices literally changed my entire life. Changed the way that I view things, changed the way that I accept things, and changed the way that I said, wow, no, that's happening outside of me, I'm going to co-create with God to create a life that my foundation can't be taken of me because it was God and I who made it. That's what matters the most. And so my purpose now is to help you whittle your tools to better your life to do the exact same thing. Yeah. When did you realize you had a gift? So I'd been pulling tarot cards since I was a child. I think it happened in hindsight. I was extremely telepathic when I was a little girl. I thought everybody had an imaginary friend when they were 2, 3 years old that taught them how to bubble themselves, that, taught them to, turn off the thoughts of others. That was, very common for me. My parents used to make a joke because I got so many ear infections and a lot of telepathic kiddos, if that might resonate with you and your kiddos, that they're getting an incredible amount of ear infections because they can hear everything. And so I knew that when I was a kiddo and was communicating telepathically to that, guide that is no longer with me anymore. I have a few guides from my childhood. They come and go, and certain ones stay there forever. Your guardian angels pretty much stay there your entire life, but certain guides come and go once you go through certain portals and certain upgrades and can't be here anymore. But since I was a young girl, I was pulling tarot cards and had a meditation altar when I was younger than 10. Went through, energy healing school. I went through Reiki certification when I was in my late 20s. I needed a certification. I don't use the term Reiki, nor do I really entertain that energy work, but that was the piece of paper that I needed to charge money for energy work. So I did that. I think it can be very limiting in my personal opinion. And now what was the last one? When did you realize that you could share that gift? It's interesting. As leaders, in every situation, doesn't matter if you have the awakening hat, we know that we're at the front of the charge with the machete, spearheading a way for someone else behind us to learn something. We're doing this, especially as an Aries. They can seem very competitive, but it's really for me to say, I'm going first so that I can tell you what's going to punch you in the face. I'm going to tell you how that's going to feel. I'm going to explain to you what's going on. And so it was I talk about this in my full moon healing, where I could have waited. I could have waited until, when I got the download, and I was like, I could have waited until Taurus season. The Taurus full moon coming up next month to create it. But I had been borderline homeless. I think it was 2021 that I first started creating these. And I mentioned that in the Scorpio season video, I want to say. I'd been creating this full moon healing, this full moon ceremony, because the second that I learn something, I recognize that this isn't just for me. This education isn't just for me. This knowledge, people have been following astrology for a very long time. It's not just my language. I was watching an Ancient Aliens about it. It was really, really interesting. And the way that it's happening whether you believe it or not. It's a language, as Pam Gregory says. And so I just wanted to highlight that. And it's like saying, I don't believe in Italian, or I don't believe in the Italian language. It's happening whether you like it or not. You just don't speak it. That's okay. It's protein. I had a great workout today. Great workout. Okay. I also wanted to, in the Mars video, the Power Meets Softness video, I asked y'all to label this little guy, this hematite, and I'm going with the name Randy. It is an incredibly triggering name in my life, but that's his name. I had said oh, it's Raphael, and literally the hematite was like, it's Randy. I'm like, cool. So it's Randy. I will comment on that video as well below, but I wanted to honor that. Okie dokie. So the next few questions, I just want to time out and just say that these are my opinions. Please don't take anything that I'm saying as doctrine. There are many other perspectives into all of the things that I'm about to say moving forward. Nothing that I'm about to offer you is the only way to do things. These are my opinions. These are not facts. You have not contracted me to do a reading or anything like that for you. This is offered information across time and space on YouTube. So I'm very, very grateful for YouTube. If this resonates, it is for you. If it does not resonate, there are infinite, hundreds of thousands of other perspectives on everything that I'm about to say. So I just wanted to offer that. I speak from I statements. We all speak from I statements at the Multidimensional Cafe. So if it's for you, amazing. If it's not, that's so okay. That is so okay. how to connect with more past lives. I had put out a video saying that this is my last human life, how to tell if it's yours, and I'm sorry this is so late. I had recorded an entire video on this, but I was literally in like 15 different dimensions and it was not very accessible or user-friendly. So what I am going to offer to you is, if you're keen to connect to more past lives, what works for me, I'm a very visual person, like when I'm talking to you, I have my guides that show me an image over here. I have a galactic bubble over here, past lives over here. So it's like minimum 3 screens, absolutely minimum as a human being. And I have my Atlantean past life to thank for giving that very sober oracle. I'm completely sober. All I have is, caffeine, and that's it. And that's it. So for me, what has worked for me, and I have foundations, I've practiced Lazarus meditations for a very long time. I've linked his page below many times. And so the Lazarus material, if you're interested in more information, like he's been channeling for he's been channeled through for a very long time. Dear friend. And so I like to give it a visual. I like to give it a stage. So if you want to, in the same way that I'm trying to think of the past life that it was the fairy past life, where I'm walking and I can hear my feet. That's usually how it starts. So when you're in a grounded and meditative space, when you feel safe and comfortable and confident, you feel sovereign, you've checked in with all the voices in your head and you really know what's going on, give your higher self, your consciousness, a space to show you a movie, whether it's like walking into, sometimes I like to like sit at a table at a speakeasy and there's a stage and I'm like, I'm just going to watch this movie here. Do I want to be in it? Do I want to see it? Do I want to feel it? How do I want to experience it? In the same way that just like we could ask our dreams, we have a dream journal. I want to experience more past lives in my dreams. Wherever your clair comes in, however that comes in, the lowest hanging fruit, the most accessible one, talk to your higher self and say, I really want to experience more. I also want to highlight that a lot of the most powerful light workers right now that are on the planet, especially the younger ones, this might be one of your first lives on planet Earth because you're here to change new ones. That's just a perspective. That is just a perspective. If you feel like you can't really integrate very well into society, you feel like you have so many shines that you don't understand, like this is the perfect parlay until my next question. This might be your first time here. And that's why the noise and all of the ridiculousness, you're like, why are people like doing this? That could be because you're not used to it. For us that have been here for billions of years, we're so traumatized. Just like, actually, I'm going to say I was going to do a whole video on this, but I'm incorporating it in here. Being an old soul isn't always, is there anything else for the one before that? Give it a stage, give it a movie, give it a, something in your meditation that's very accessible for you. I want to hear it. I want to listen to it. Like I want to walk with it. I want to see it, but give it a stage for your higher self to accessibly show it. I have a digital download. I think it's donation based. It might be $2. Meeting your higher self. If you've never connected to your higher self, the link for my digital products is below. That could be really worth your time to connect to your higher self, but it's also meeting at a cafe table that you can use that stage to do anything, to meet anyone, to meet past lives, to visualize all these different things. So it's a very accessible, fundamental, foundational tool that could be helpful for you as you're ramping up. If your dreams are popping off, ask your dreams. All these different things. I lost it. Dang, I lost it. Past lives. It might come back. I lost it. Dang. Past lives. It's so gone. It's so gone. Going to the cafe table. Other versions. Dreams. It might come back. It's gone. It's absolutely gone. I love it when that happens. Okay. Next question, your thoughts on the tism. What is your take on it? Because a lot of the times I make the joke, like if you see me like looking off into the tism space, like that's where I go. And someone had asked, they had a tism burnout, they had this, they had that. I, again, just want to highlight, like, I'm no doctor, absolutely not a psychologist, psychiatrist in any capacity. These are my perspectives. These are my opinions when it comes to, like those diagnosed things. If you feel as though you shine in that way and you don't belong to this world, that you're too different for this, structured society that we belong to, it means that you're here to break it. It means that you're here to do something different about it. Whereas, especially the youngsters, we're all on the spectrum, in my personal perspective and opinion, and it's because you shine in different ways. You experience things, you're feeling colors, you're hearing like thoughts, you're having all of these experiences. But thank God for my tism, because I am better at what it is that I do. I wouldn't be able to do what it is that I do if I didn't have the space to be able to like shine in the way that I do and experience things in the way that I do. And I'm learning every single day, because the world's, it's shifting and changing, and I'm creating a reality right now. I'm birthing the reality where I can walk away from situations that don't serve my highest and greatest timeline, that I am completely free to have time, location, and financial freedom to be able to travel and do all the things that God has asked me to do. So I'm creating that every single day. Also, I'm just going to advocate for myself right now. If anything that I have ever offered to you resonates with you, works for you, there are links to donate, super thanks, super chats, all of those different things are so appreciated. Purchasing products, all of these different things. I have very, very accessible, like all the way down to a penny you could pay for a product, but it literally helps me offer more. So however you can support the cafe, much thanks. If you cannot financially support the cafe, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Please share it with someone that you think could benefit and that they might appreciate this. But getting more people to join this cafe table helps me, helps you, helps the world, helps everybody. So I'll just say that. I can't even remember what it is I was saying before. But my thoughts on the tism is that you shine. You have a clairvoyance. You have a clair, not even a clairvoyance, but you're seeing things, and it's like human words can sometimes be so limiting. You can feel the energy of, the Hematite Randy. You can hear my thoughts. You can hear the energy of this blouse. There are many times when I would just play with the dial of time when I was younger a few years ago. And I would just like look at some of the buildings that outside my window, and I would dial time back and I would see them building the chimney, and I would dial time forward and I would see it without people in there. And then I can just, do that. And so we don't, in this current third dimensional matrix reality, that's not wildly acceptable. I'm still different. I'm still perceived to be cuckoo pants when I say things like that. And so there are, special needs programs and special this and special that. What if special was what if that was, you were born an oracle and you were born with these incredible knowings, and that you're not supposed to be amongst Gen Pop society because you're there to lead, to guide, to have different experiences. So I think of all of these, mental, whatever they label them as that's how you shine. It's not a negativism that you can't sit still in a desk for 8 hours a day because you're not meant to, because you're supposed to pop a hole in the matrix to say, this doesn't work for everyone. Maybe there's another way. And so I find the tism to be one of my most powerful attributes. Something that I wish that I really knew earlier in my life, which I wish that I understood a lot better. But at the same time, I'm a better being. Like at the beginning, I am such an experiential learner, such a leader, here to hold space. I don't want all of those like placards on the wall that says I educated and have all of this, student loan debt. I've been in it. I've experienced it. I've been hands-on in it. So all of the things that I've gone through, I'm so grateful for now, because they made me the expert in holding space that I am now, and the expert in astrology, the expert in whatever in all of these things. I would say the expert in holding space and astrology. And that would probably be the two big things that I would say I'm an expert on. That's what I would say. Okie dokie, how do you just leave someone where they are, especially when it's a family member? This was a question that came up recently, and I want to offer, this is a toughie. This is a toughie. And again, this is my opinion, this is my perspective, and I'm right there with you. I have, I've been the family member that people have had to leave where they are, and I have family members that I've had to leave where they are. And so this is a little bit of a harsher answer than I think that I like to hear for myself, but it is the only way. It is our judgments and our judgments only that say that that person is in a lower space than they're in. It is us saying, you're doing worse than I expected you to do. You are in a place where I think you could be doing better. Whereas, the times that, how do I say, I wouldn't be so sober if I wasn't so stoned all the time. And literally for 14 plus years, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I was high, cannabis flower. And it's an incredible medicine. It got me through verbally abusive relationships, narcissistic relationships, issues of borderline homelessness, overcoming childhood sexualization and, very odd adult sexualization. So I get it. But I had to do that to become the person that I am. I had to be, have an ED to understand eating. I had to be overweight and underweight to understand health. I had to overexercise to understand balance. I had to be ungrounded to understand being grounded. And so when we see people around us that are not living the 5D ascended life that we believe they could be living, they're actually trying their best. And they're actually in their Rocky montage. And we actually just have to find the healthiest of boundaries to say, I love you, but I love you from here. This is all I can offer for you. And really hold back on trying to talk over them. It's something that we talked about for Libra season and the, leading with love, that video where it was, are we listening? Or are we just waiting to talk? Are we just waiting to say something? Can we just listen and love the person, the family member, where they are as they are, but not go into a space? We might not be able to show up for every holiday. We might not be able to show up when it feels like all I want to do is scream and there's 15 elephants in the room. Maybe phone calls or FaceTimes are going to be easier for you. I cannot diminish the roaring pain and frustration, but we have to look at our own ego and our savior complexes. And that's not easy for any of us to really wrap our heads around when we're like, oh, I'm the problem. We have to, and sometimes this is also like a way to be helpful. Sometimes removing your light is the only way for that person to see that they're sitting in a pool of their own filth and that they have the candle inside of themselves. One of the greatest lessons that I ever learned was every single family member of mine closing a door in my face and saying, I don't care if you're living in your car, Sarah, you got to fix yourself. And I'm a better woman for it. And it also says that they, in a different level, if we took the lens of what they said away and put the, I believe in you so much, then I know you can figure this out. It's kind of like the parable of the parents that have the kiddos where they like pay for everything. They're just saying, I don't believe in you to figure this out. I don't believe that you can figure out how to pay your phone bill. I don't believe that you can figure out how to navigate this world. I'm gonna bubble and take helicopter. I think that's the word. I'm gonna helicopter that. So that's not the gentlest recommendation, but it is the only one that really resonates with me because, and this has come up when I'm looking at I've been creating a 2025, guide for you, whether it's like a workbook or an ebook. I really don't know what it's morphing into, but I'm writing it, and then I'll do an all signs reading that will be very similar to the Scorpio season, reading that I'm going to do for you. I'm going to record it after this video. But we have to check our ego when it comes to splitting of timelines, splitting of realities. We have to recognize that our reality is our reality and theirs is just as honest as your reality. So what we think their reality is meant to be That's a judgment. That's a judgment. Their reality is just as truthful and just as honest and just as valid. They're not right or wrong. We're not right or wrong. It is to them. So that's how we have to sometimes leave people where they are, because that's the only way for us to A, not diminish ourselves, and B, remove our light so that C, they can recognize that they can shine their own light. I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. It's kind of like somebody, it's like an adult just pooped their pants. And you're like, hey, you just pooped their pants. And they're like, leave me where I am. That's ridiculous. I'm fine. You're like, it kind of smells. You might want to just clean up after yourself. I would love to help you, but you're an adult and like you poop your pants. It's like, that's kind of gross, but like you can kind of, but if you walk away and they're like, why is nobody answering my call? Oh, that's me. I'm the one who smells. I'm the common denominator. And then they can clean up after themselves, It's tough because the new moon coming up on the 1st of November, it's going to be very grown-up energy, very, very grown-up energy, where no one's coming to save us in any capacity. We have to be the ones in our own lives to do things differently to save ourselves. Okay, this is the last question, and I'm leaving on a happy one, but why are people dying? Why are so many people dying? And so again, this is my opinion and perspective. This is not doctrine. This is a very above view. And again, I've referenced my tism. It can feel, I have a whole video, and it takes a certain level of disassociation to function during this planet right now. I'll say from an I statement, from a personal statement, there was a moment that in my community, within one weekend, 2 very important people within the community passed away. And what I'm about to say doesn't diminish in any capacity the pain that our human body, that our human avatars experience. It is very painful. And so I'm not going to diminish that. This is more the why. This is the why this is going on. And so I'm just listening to my guides for 1 second. Okay, so something very personal happens to me, and this was recently with all the solar flares that happened. One of my guides left, and he wasn't I'm not going to name names, I'm not going to label, I'm not going to talk about it. It's still very raw to me, and I woke up and was about to sit, and like very first thing in the morning, sit in my meditation, and my guide said, God basically said, this guide has to leave. There's too much light on the planet right now, so he can't really vibe. And this was a negative, like a darker negative, more had gone a little cuckoo pants guide. I know. Not all guides aren't God. I just want to also offer that to you, that your guides are consciousnesses. They are not perfect in any capacity. They're learning lessons right along with you. So never think of your guides. That's why I tell you, like, get to the same level as your guides and don't look at them as like these idealized gods. Like, they're just consciousnesses that aren't in human form. And so God was like, yeah, he's got to go. And so we had a whole ceremony. It was really beautiful, but he does work through source now. If you are alive and a part of the ascension, the awakening of the earth, of the planet, of the earth school, the earth mastery school, whether you are physically here on the planet or you are doing things from the other side, you are a part of the team. Before, in my perspective, before we came to human life, we said, this is when I'm going to come in, this is what I'm going to go through, this is when I'm going to leave, this is how I'm going to help, this is going to be my first, my last, my middle, my human lives, all those different things. The karmic trap aside, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that right now. Right now, there's so much light coming to the planet, so much solar energy, so much energy that our cells are like headaches, ringing in the ears, upgrades, body issues, all these different things are happening. More light we're receiving in days than like our great-great-grandparents received ever. Like, power lines are going out. It's wild what we're experiencing. Absolutely wild what we're experiencing. And we're going into the time of, the big flash of light, and that's exciting. Nobody has the time period for that. Some people say this next year, some people say 5 years. I don't really care. I'm not talking about that. So the people that are leaving the planet are usually archetypal. What does that mean, Sarah? It means that they represent something for a lot of people. And that instantly their work becomes bigger and greater and more abundant. So I'll speak from my own life. There was a person that passed away, very unexpected. The second that it happened, people didn't care about party lines. People didn't care about their qualms. People didn't care about any issues. The whole community was like, I don't have any fight in me. Yeah, he's gone. And we were hugging and we were crying and holding each other and supporting each other. Nothing mattered. And so that's happening for, freak accidents for 20-something-year-olds, 30-year-olds, violent issues, all these different things, all massive things that are happening over the planet. I'm going to highlight the incredible work of Ann Tucker. She channels the angels. And something that is very comforting that the angels spoke to is that the people that are leaving the planet right now, they leave before that pain hits their body. They don't experience any of the pain. They don't experience any of that. Their soul's removed from the body before any pain is experienced because they contracted, I'm going to represent something bigger for humanity and do work from that space, that multidimensional quantum space. It's kind of like the second that Bob Proctor, bless his heart and soul, passed away. He, within a week or so, I was able to talk to him in a very telepathic way. If you don't have that language, think of how much you can watch him on YouTube. You can watch him through the Proctor Institute. There's so much more, Bob, post life than there was when he was here. He planned it. He was ready for it. He put all the things out there. There's stuff, he passed away years ago, and it's like how to, make your first million in 2024. He was ready. He was prepped. So again, it does not discredit what the human has to experience when someone leaves their community. We came here to experience love. We came here to experience friendship, and that's a mastery emotion that we're here experiencing right here and now. So I don't want to in any way say like, oh, they're just doing work from the other side. I was out for days crying. So give yourself the time and space to really feel those feelings and emotions. But when it comes to like the why people are dying, that's there. And I have 2 other videos on death, like death is different nowadays and how to prepare for the moment that the human is going to die. Those are available on my YouTube, all for free. So I think that's it. What questions do you have for me? If this style resonates, and again, my apologies that it has taken me, like these are questions that had come from, September, a little bit into like from August until now. So, and, please join my live on YouTube on Mondays at 11 Eastern Standard Time. I'm not giving myself the, the intensity of every single Monday it's going to happen. But while that works for my human life and what that works for my energy levels, and especially like I don't do things, on full moons, and I try my best to be very available for my community on new moons, like how it goes is how it goes. But for right now, we had an incredible first live last Monday that is available instantly. So please, if you have questions, ask them there. Comment below this video how you're feeling about any of these topics. Reach out directly, send an email or, Instagram a direct message to me, and I can do a little bit more of these if these resonate with you. So I'm happy to answer these questions. I hope that was helpful for you, and tons of information. The links are all below. My link tree, everything is like I have tons of resources for you. Let me know how I can best serve, how I can best support, and how I can best create space for you to create your own tools. And remember, these are my perspectives and opinion. They might not resonate with you, and that's okay. That's so okay. Doesn't mean you're wrong, doesn't mean you're right, doesn't mean I'm wrong, doesn't mean I'm right. It just means that that's a different perspective of the conscious reality that we are experiencing right now. I'm not here to spar. I'm not here to take from your reality. Your reality is your reality, my friend, and that is okay. That is a beautiful thing. But I love you. Proud of you. I'll talk to you soon.